presentation here, and we're considering the verses, and you can read through these verses. I'm not going to read them all. Scott read a couple of them, but the verses Matthew 4, 12 through 25, the next session. In these verses, we're going to discover that to be like Jesus means to openly proclaim the message of Christ. Now, when we say the message of Christ, what does that mean? Traditionally, in Adventism, we've used that word. Matter of fact, we've even used it in the past. When we say, is that person still in the... Have you ever heard that one? I heard that one when I was a kid. Are they still in the message? Well, I ask you today, what is the message of Christ? What is it? And we'll look at that as we look at these verses. In these verses, I find two of the most important words Jesus ever spoke. And the two words are, follow me. Not trite, not unimportant. I feel some of the most important words, two words that Jesus ever spoke. Follow me. And I'm going to share with you in the next 15 minutes now important truths about what it means to be one of Christ's disciples. In this expression, follow me, we find it directly recorded 13 times in the Gospels. Again, follow me. Jesus was saying this over and over again. Follow me, follow me. Several other times we find in the Gospels, they followed him. And what does that mean to follow Christ? Now, when Jesus says this, and he says it over and over again, in the context here of chapter 4, in which we find him beginning his ministry, calling his disciples. And by the way, when you put the Gospels together, Matthew completely ignores about 2 years, or about a year and a half worth of things that the other Gospel writers will talk about. Christ's original invitation to the disciples to follow him was a year and a half before we find now this recorded in Matthew. They had known him. Read John, read the other Gospels. They had already known about him, and they were considering on following him, but they were mulling it over in their minds and living day by day. Matthew's account jumps all the way to the time when Jesus finally came to him and said, okay, I want you what? Follow me. And this is the context of what you're looking at in this chapter of Matthew. You know what kind of word that is? I'm sorry, folks, if I bore you with the Greek sometimes. But it's so important to understand in the original language. When Jesus says to his disciples, follow me, it's an imperative. What's an imperative? Command. It is not an invitation. Hey, do you want to follow me? Would you like to follow me? It is an imperative. What would you put at the end of an imperative? An exclamation point. It is a command. Follow me. And it's full of emotion, and it's full of love, and it's full of a desire for Jesus to save someone. Amen. To follow me. And you could hear the passion in his voice as you look at that passion, almost a passion that one would say to someone else, in order to get across this minefield, what? Well, you can follow me if you want. You want to get across here? There's mine here and there's some over there. But you go your own way. That's okay. Well, you can follow me if you want. Is that what Jesus is saying? It's an imperative. He said, follow me. Watch my footsteps. Put your feet in my footsteps to survive. With passion, he is saying, follow me. I've discovered, and there's more, but I've discovered at least 5 things that what it means to follow Jesus. Follow Jesus means, number 1, means to obey. Obey. Obedience, that's not a popular word today. Obedience, nah, that's not popular because, well, for one thing, authority has been misused. Would you say authority has been misused in the time? Yeah. And so when authority gets misused, either by a parent who without love is trying to use their authority, or a government person hiding, misusing their authority, or someone high up there controlling people's financial lives, misusing their authority, obedience is not a good word today. I haven't been using that in marriage vows for the last 15 years. You know that part that says love and what? No, you don't use that one. You get yourself in trouble using that one today. Which, again, that has been misused too. To follow Jesus means to obey. When he asked them to follow him, what does it say in verse 20? They start ham-hawing around, and so forth? No, read all our scripture there. It says what they do. Immediately. And you go on there and read, it says they left their nets, some left their father, they followed immediately. So to follow Jesus means to obey him. Hold that in your thought. Means to obey him.